Hello guys, welcome back to the channel. It's TPM5 here, back again with another NBA video. In today's video, I'll be talking about Zion Williamson and the situation in New Orleans, try and explain it the best that I can, and yeah, just go through it because it is a very strange situation. So without further ado, let's get started. Now, the New Orleans Pelicans to start the 2021-22 season have got a 1-7 record, which at the moment places them last in the Western Conference, obviously being the 15th and worst team in the conference. They've had, some games where they've been competitive. Obviously, it's not where they want to be, given they're a team that were pushing for a playing spot, and a lot of people, had high hopes for this team. Maybe make the playoffs, and the over and under for the season was set at 39.5. So obviously, they were expected to be in a playing spot. Nevertheless, Zion Williamson hasn't played a game, and there's a lot of question marks around him. Whether he wants to play, his injury, his fitness, and then the long-term, aspect to him being there, which I'll touch on all of that in a minute. But so far, just looking at the guys who have played, Brandon Ingram has been very good for them, averaging 25 points, 7 rebounds, and 5 assists as well. He's been, the leader of the team. Valanciunas is a handy pickup, currently averaging 20 points and 15 rebounds. Devontae Graham's been doing some stuff for them, a fairly good get for them, although he leaves a little bit to be desired on defense. And then Alexander Walker and Josh Hart are the other two guys on the roster, averaging in double digits. And you have guys like Herb Jones and Trey Murphy, the rookies that have shown a bit. But just a quick break, guys. I make NBA content 2 to 3 times a week, and I'd heavily appreciate it if you subscribe. Any support you guys can give me is very, highly appreciated. And let's continue. So let's touch on Zion Williamson. I think that's going to be what we talk about for the rest of the video. Just want to paint the full picture there. So the Pelicans aren't doing the greatest due to, you know, Zion and what was happening over the offseason with him not really looking the most, thrilled with the team. Many executives around the league, have been saying to keep track on the situation in New Orleans because, Zion's obviously a very good talent. He was averaging 27 points, 7 rebounds, and 4 assists last year. Obviously on 61% because he kind of dominates from in the paint. But he's someone who wants to be in probably a bigger market, and there was that little thing with his family. So that's definitely something that is worth looking at, and we'll know more about it at the end of this year, and obviously into next year during July when I think he'll be eligible for his rookie extension. So it's very interesting to see what will happen there. Now, Zion Williamson hasn't played at all this season, as I mentioned earlier in the video. He went under for some surgery as he fractured his right foot during the off season, and it's believed that that injury was suffered just before the Summer League, so in August. Obviously, he didn't play in the Summer League. I don't think that even risks his health because of how good he is. I don't think there's nothing to gain from that. But the initial injury, suggested he'd be back by opening night, but there's been some delays, and he was reevaluated towards the end of last month, and it was shown that yeah, he's got a bit of a way to go. It looks like we should expect him to return in about 2 to 3 weeks. Obviously, he has to go under a couple more scans just to get himself at a point where he can go back into full training. I think they're wanting him back on 5v5, training in probably 2 weeks. Now, Herb Williams played, as I mentioned before, he's actually started 8 or 7 of the games, and he's shown a little bit, but obviously no Zion Williamson. Now, apparently during the off season, that we're going to touch more on the weight side of things than his injury. He, made it past 300 pounds, which is kind of alarming, and he's 11 kilos heavier than he was in his rookie season. Now, just casting our minds back to his rookie year, he wasn't exactly the thinnest and leanest player in terms of muscle mass in the league, and NBA legend Walt Frazier chimed in by saying, quote, "You can see he's put on some pounds," end quote. Walt Frazier later added that Zion needs to cut the pounds off. And even guys like, JJ Redick, his former teammate, if I'm remembering correctly, have commented as well, saying he just needs to be in better shape. So Zion and his weight is an issue because, someone like him, generally as an athlete anyway, you don't want to be overweight. But someone like him who suffered 2 major leg injuries, which one of them was a grade 1 knee sprain while at Duke, and then a torn meniscus in his first preseason, along with the fractured right foot, I believe, that I mentioned before. So he needs to get into shape, because obviously the heavier you are, the more pressure that puts on your joints and your muscles and stuff. And, it's harder just to move around. I think that's obviously general knowledge. A lot of people know that, but that is something, that's worth being discussed. And, if he can't, come back and be healthy, it's going to affect his value if he wants to leave, and it's also going to affect his ability, and which teams actually want to get him in the future if he ends up wanting out of New Orleans, which, given the history of recently players in small markets like Anthony Davis, who is in a similar spot, he could leave, and obviously LeBron's a little bit of a parallel as well. Probably, what was it, 10, 12 years ago now. So Zion Williamson's obviously a great player. They want him out there. He's very important to their team, and that's probably why they're struggling so much early in the year. That's quite obvious. Brandon Ingram's been balling. He's waiting for him to come back. We need Zion to come back and be healthy, and in the long term he needs to cut the pounds to ensure that he can have a successful long-term career. And I wouldn't rule out the possibility of major changes occurring to the roster, and obviously that'll have to happen to keep Zion happy. Now that does bring me towards the end of the video, so I do appreciate you guys for watching if you made it to the end. So don't forget to like, share and subscribe. Also comment what you guys think. Do you think he'll come back in 2 weeks? And yeah, peace out. Thanks for watching.